Hey, this is Ciderhelm and welcome back to Turning Point. For today's episode, we're going to look at a late game team fight occurring at mid. We're 32 minutes into this match and Purple Team has a 3k gold lead along with a 3 tower lead. Let's set the stage. For Purple Team, Nautilus and Blitzcrank are the tanky front line. This is a rare and sometimes quite annoying double hook team. Behind them are Kennen and Draven, both of whom offer exceptional damage for their teams. And Lissandra is barely on screen at the rear. For Blue Team, Sejuani and Leona make up the front line. Katarina is going to wait and position for an opportunity to dive in. 4 of her opponents are able to immediately knock her out of her ultimate, so she will avoid going in immediately. Off screen are Kha'Zix and Caitlyn. With Kha'Zix and Katarina, Blue Team is running double assassins, which often means it's critical to knock out vulnerable players to help snowball a team fight. Sejuani has landed her ultimate way behind the front line, applying a massive slow to Kennen and Lissandra. Kennen is by far the biggest threat from Purple Team, so this is a very dangerous start to this fight. Right before this, Sejuani had moved to position herself for this shot. Interestingly, Nautilus moved at the same time to avoid any initiation from her. Perhaps he didn't realize just how far she can throw her ultimate, but since he is Purple Team's front line, he is risking their strongest player just to avoid Sejuani. Sejuani dashes onto Kennen, again entirely bypassing Nautilus. Despite Kennen's lightning rush, he is simply too slow to make any serious move out of here, and he's already been brought to half-life thanks to a volley from Kha'Zix. Nautilus has just hooked Leona. Practically speaking, he brought her a little closer to the fight, which is exactly where she wants to be anyway. Of all of the potential ways he could have put his hook on cooldown, such as delaying or disrupting Katarina, Caitlyn, or Kha'Zix, this was among the least effective options. Blue Team is moving in now, and Nautilus has decided to delay this by casting his ultimate onto Katarina. This is, frankly, not an ideal target. For Blue Team, Katarina is the furthest behind in terms of their damage dealers, and since she can also use Shunpo to blink into the fight, this brief delay isn't going to prevent anything serious from happening. If instead he had fired his ultimate at Kha'Zix, the disruption may very well have given Kennen a moment to deal more damage and drop a stun, and may have even allowed for enough disruption to kill Kha'Zix. But as it stands, Kennen is going to die almost instantly, and he will never have an opportunity to bring his damage to bear. Blitzcrank hooks Sejuani out of this fight, allowing her a clean escape at low health. The moment Katarina blinked in and began channeling her ultimate, Lissandra stuns her, completely negating her presence in the fight. The fight at this point is essentially a 4 vs 3 with both Katarina and Leona at very low health. Caitlyn is still around, but she's actually used her net to push herself out of this fight, most likely judging that the fight is not going in their team's favor. Kha'Zix has brought down Lissandra, but he fails to land his next jump onto Draven. This is because Draven had been backing off, but immediately moved back in to re-engage, being baited by a low-health Sejuani and Katarina. Speaking of Katarina, she managed to just barely survive all of the burst she took while stunned, and has activated her Zhonya's Hourglass. Because she's received an assist from Kha'Zix's kill, she will actually be able to Shunpo to safety despite the 3 players standing right on top of her. And Caitlyn is back in the fight now. She's about to land her Pilt-over Peacemaker onto the remaining members of Purple Team. Draven goes down next, and this is followed up with a quick kill on Nautilus. Despite nearly everyone on Blue Team being nearly dead, this fight is now a 1 for 4 in their favor. Blitzcrank has no escape and dies in a last-ditch effort to take down Kha'Zix. From here, Blue Team is able to take down the middle inhibitor, exposing Purple Team's base, and they still have time to take out Baron Nashor afterwards. Up until the team fight we covered, the game came down to Kha'Zix and Kennen, both of whom brought incredible damage output. But one of the problems of solo queue at any level of play is that sometimes even your tanks care more about their own survival than doing what's best for the team. Nautilus had the power to win the game for his team in that team fight, but he failed to position as a front line, he failed to peel, and he failed to use his abilities effectively. The turning point for this match was quite literally when Sejuani turned to get an angle on Kennen, and when Nautilus turned to avoid her. She pulled off an amazing initiation, and then made a high-risk play by coming back in to bait Purple Team at extremely low health. Fortune favors the bold. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Turning Point. Let me know in the comments below how Purple Team could have won this match.